$14 billion. That is the price of Sydney's newest harbour crossing, almost as much as the entire West Connex motorway, but built underground. This single tunnel is planned to stretch about 6.5 kilometers beneath one of the world's most famous harbours. It is designed to carry 6 lanes of traffic, linking the Warringah Freeway to the Rozelle interchange, and easing pressure on crossings that already move more than 250,000 vehicles every day. Supporters say the system is breaking, and this tunnel is overdue. Critics say the cost is staggering, the risks are high, and the benefits are uncertain. Parliamentary inquiries, leaked costings, and public protests have turned a transport project into a political fault line. So why did Sydney commit to such an expensive solution? And what does it really change beneath the harbour? Sydney is not an easy city to move through. Why? Its shape decides that from the start. A deep, natural harbour cuts the city in two. Long peninsulas push suburbs outward. Ridges and valleys twist roads into narrow paths. Water, rock, and steep ground decide where people can go and where they cannot. For more than a century, crossings have been rare and precious. The Harbour Bridge became the backbone of the city. Later, the Harbour Tunnel joined it. Together, they carry most of the vehicles moving between the north and the south. But were they never meant to handle this much pressure? Every weekday, hundreds of thousands of trips funnel through just a few corridors. Cars, trucks, buses, all fighting for space in the same tight gaps. The bridge alone moves around 160,000 vehicles a day. Add trains, pedestrians, and cyclists, and the strain becomes clear. The tunnel adds capacity, but it fills quickly too. How long can 2 crossings carry an entire city? For years, these links worked, just barely. Then the city grew. Population spread outward, jobs pulled inward, freight volumes climbed. More people needed to cross the harbour, not once a day, but again and again. Morning peaks grew longer. Afternoon congestion started earlier. The pressure never really stopped. Public transport helped, but geography set hard limits. Rail lines followed old paths shaped by 19th century engineering. Buses wound through steep streets and narrow corridors. Ferries depended on shoreline access and calm weather. There was only so much they could do. The terrain forced hard choices: coverage or speed, direct routes or frequent ones. What looked good on a flat map failed on Sydney's slopes and peninsulas. Something always had to give. So the roads took the pressure instead. Each upgrade promised relief. Each new lane filled faster than expected. When the Harbour Tunnel opened, congestion fell, at first. Then traffic surged back. Later studies showed why. More road space pulled in more cars. Tens of thousands of new daily trips appeared. Many shifted away from trains and ferries. Congestion eased for a moment, then returned somewhere else. By the 2010s, the system had no room left to bend. So planners looked for space where none seemed to exist. They looked underground. And what followed was a complex engineering task. The Western Harbour Tunnel is planned as Sydney's third road crossing of the harbour. 6 lanes, twin tunnels, about 6.5 kilometers long, stretching from Rozelle in the inner west to Camaret on the north shore. At the southern end, it links straight into the West Connex motorway network. At the northern end, it connects to the Warringah Freeway, one of the busiest roads in the country. On paper, the idea sounds simple. Keep traffic out of the city center. Take pressure off the Harbour Bridge and the existing tunnel. Create a new western route, under the harbour, not over it. But simple ideas don't always mean simple builds, because this tunnel goes deep. In some places more than 70 meters below ground. It passes beneath homes, historic areas, and the harbour itself. And the ground below Sydney is far from uniform. The rock keeps changing. Sandstone, shale, layers filled with water beneath the seabed. Each one brings a new challenge. Early designs took a different path. The plan was to place huge concrete tunnel sections into a trench cut into the harbour floor, lower them into place, seal them together. Done. But that plan didn't last. Concerns over marine damage and surface disruption pushed engineers to rethink the approach. The solution? go deeper. Instead of building on the harbor floor, tunnel boring machines will carve their way far beneath it, well below marine life, out of sight, but not out of danger. This choice reduced surface impact, but it came at a cost. The tunnel now sits deeper underground, water pressure increases, ground conditions become harder to predict. The machines must cut through mixed rock while keeping seawater out. As each section is dug, thick concrete rings are installed immediately. These rings lock the tunnel in place, keeping it strong, stable, and dry. There is no room for delay. Once the ground is opened, it must be secured right away. Away from the harbor, the work changes again. On both the north and south sides, road header machines grind through solid rock. The process is slow and careful. First, the roof is cut. Then, steel bolts are drilled in. Concrete is sprayed to hold everything together. Only after that is the floor removed. Why so slow? Because the ground above cannot move. Even small shifts could damage buildings at the surface. And this work never really stops. Construction runs day and night. Sound travels through the rock. Vibrations spread outward. Some residents describe it as a low hum, always there, never fully gone. This is the reality of building beneath a city that never shuts down. As the tunnel is carved out, huge amounts of broken rock are left behind. This spoil has to go somewhere, but moving it through busy harbor streets was never an option. Instead, the spoil is carried out through acoustic sheds. From there, it is loaded and hauled away, mostly to sites far from the harbor. Sensitive local streets near the shoreline are kept clear. Fewer trucks, less noise, less disruption. At least, that's the plan. But rock isn't the only thing moving underground. Ventilation has become another flashpoint. Cars inside the tunnel produce exhaust. That air cannot stay underground forever. It has to be released somewhere. The design uses ventilation stacks placed near tunnel exits. According to air quality models, pollution at ground level stays within approved limits. On paper, the air is safe, but critics aren't convinced. They point to nearby schools, parks, homes. They ask a simple question. Even if levels meet the limit, should pollution be released there at all? And then there's the issue that overshadows everything else: cost. When the project was linked with the now canceled Beaches link, the full program carried a price tag of around $14 billion. Even without that second tunnel, the Western Harbour Tunnel alone has climbed far beyond early estimates. Public documents show billions set aside not just for construction, but for contingencies, for property acquisition, for rising costs over time. And the spending doesn't stop when the tunnel opens. Running and maintaining it over decades adds billions more. Because the project is publicly owned, the risk sits with the state. There is no private partner to absorb cost overruns. When the price rises, taxpayers pay. That reality has sharpened criticism. Audits and reviews have questioned whether the benefits match the scale of spending. Some transport experts warn that adding motorways can simply move congestion, not remove it. More cars flowing into roads that are already full. The Roselle interchange offers a warning. Built to improve traffic flow, it instead caused severe congestion after opening. Critics fear the new tunnel could follow the same path. Former transport officials have not held back. They warn of too many lanes feeding into too few exits, of traffic being shifted around, not solved. Environmental groups raise other concerns: disturbed harbor sediments, lost green space, years of construction noise, and the long-term risk of induced traffic, more roads pulling more cars into the system. In some suburbs, opposition has been strong. Homes have been acquired, parks have been closed, at least for now. Many residents feel decisions were locked in before consultation truly began. Still, supporters push back. They point to modeling that shows fewer cars on the Harbour Bridge and the Western Distributor. They argue that doing nothing costs billions each year in lost time, that freight delays hurt the economy, that reliability matters as much as raw road space. Both sides bring data, both sides see danger, and both look at the same tunnel and see very different futures. So the question remains: what is Sydney really choosing? The Western Harbour Tunnel is not just a road beneath the water, it is a choice about how Sydney moves, grows, and pays for the future. Some see relief from congestion, others see risk, cost, and years of disruption. The tunnel promises faster trips, but it also raises big questions about traffic, money, and long term planning. Whether it becomes a solution or another bottleneck will only be clear with time. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about this project? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories like this.